con Delta India Delta può andare.
Giorgio, sono pronto.
Ok, quando vuoi. Quindi pure Romeo.
Ecco Alfa in base.
Abbiamo un decollo in corso, devi allargare qua Alfa.
Ok, ecco Alfa attende.
E tu Romeo con Yankee puoi andare.
X-Ray, Oltrona.
Sei X-Ray, sei numero 2 dietro l'eco Alfa, che faccio decollare.
Giorgio, c'è un altro decollo?
Fermativo, faccio decollare adesso, bravo bravo.
Ok, attendo.
E teso, bravo bravo con Alfa Yankee può andare. Ok, X-Ray, inserisciti in base e sarà numero 2 l'eco Alfa che ti segue.
Ah, io sono davanti Giorgio.
Vabbè, allora vedetevela voi due.
Vai, vai, sì, ti seguo. Alfa Golf, Oltrona.
Ricevuto Alfa Golf, con i traini che ho al suolo sono a posto, per cui allargami un attimo che faccio decollare immediato.
Ok.
Due metri. Uno. E teso, con India Kilo puoi andare qua Alfa. Avanti X-Ray. Mantieni ancora un attimo Alfa Golf che faccio decollare subito. Prendi pure X-Ray. E tesi con Zulu Bravo spaventare. Dopo il passaggio dell'X-Ray, Alfa Golf a discrezione atterraggio. To all gliders on this frequency, to all glider on this frequency, the last glider is airborne. We will come back to you later for the opening of the start line.
Quattro per oltrona.
Ok, al parcheggio poi.
And good afternoon and welcome to Varese at the Sailplane Grand Prix. This is day 5, beautiful sunny day again. A little bit of a problem this morning with the weather, but we've got nice puffy white cumulus. Just a bit of a recap on yesterday. In third place, Sebastian Carver. In second place, Werner Arman. And our winner yesterday, Thilo Hollyhouse from Germany. And that leaves the overalls. And third place is Roma Mershek from the Czech Republic. And joint first, we have Maximilian Sayers and Giorgio Galetto from Italy. Little bit about today. The weather's not as good as it could be, but we should have a decent race today. We're expecting 1,500 meters, maybe up to 1,800 meters. You can see behind me some cumulus on the hills. So we're looking forward to a good race. And 157 kilometres today. Okay, so what we'll do is have a wander down the grid. And we were trying to catch Ricky Brigliadori, but he's run away again. So this is Ricky's glider. So there's his parachute, there's his aeroplane, there are the tugs, no Ricky. But we'll, it's probably on the telephone again. Let's see who else we can go and talk to. We tried to leave these grid walks right to the last minute so the pilots are strapped in so we can actually get a word with them. Uli we spoke to yesterday. Max is here. We'll see if we can have a quick chat with Max. No. You let him have a... Max.
Yeah.
So, joint first. What can you do today?
Well, it's a very tight result for the moment, so I think we have to. Well, I can't take too many risks. I don't really know the place as well as some local pilots do, so I think the best tactic, especially with this kind of weather, is probably going to be to try to control the race, stay in the gaggles, try to stay on top of them, and in those races, it's often the one that starts your arrival first that wins. So that's going to be what I'll try to do, but I think that's what most people are going to try to do, so we'll see.
And the task setters set an interesting 4 turn point race.
Yeah, as you said earlier, it's almost like we have 2 races. There's a first one that goes around the Lugano airspace, and then there's a second one that goes to, well, the second part of the race goes to Kong, so it's going to be very interesting, and well, we'll see. There's starting to be some cumulus on the Campo dei Fiori, so I hope it'll be a bit better than yesterday.
We've heard from the sniffer, and actually we got clouds on all the mountains, so should be a good day.
Okay, I didn't know that. Very nice. Thank you.
Great to see you smiling. Have a great day, and we'll see you when you get back. Good luck. Right, this crew being funny behind the cameraman. Right, who else have we got down here? Sebastian will come to in a minute. Christoph is just looking at his task. We'll see if we can have a quick word with Christoph. Time check. Weather's looking really good, actually. Really good. Christoph just talking with Eric. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Come on, Eric, come and join us. What were you guys just talking about? Or is it a secret?
No. It's the first time for me to check this task because it's a new task today. So I asked to Christoph what's happened, what plan he have today.
Yeah, we were talking about gaining time in the turn points, turning as short as we can, and each 500 meters to add is seconds.
Absolutely, and it's so close, this racing, isn't it?
Exactly.
Interesting task. 3 turn points very close together, and the first leg is only 15 kilometers. Do you think you can get round the turn point and back to the hill, or will you have to climb first?
We may get the first turn point straight and climb on the hill, which are to the north of Campo dei Fiori, climb there and do the second turn, and then back to Campo dei Fiori. That's the plan.
That's the plan. Okay. It's always good to have a plan because then you can change it.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Thanks, Eric. Ciao. Cheers. Right. Yeah, quick chat with Sebastian here. Yeah. While he's getting strapped into his parachute. Well, you wear parachutes in gliders just in case, but we don't like to use them. Have you ever used a parachute?
I have been practicing it once. Once only, from a big plane, Antonov 2.
Yeah, but never out of a glider.
No. I really don't know what we are using this for.
It's to make the seat more comfortable.
It's not really.
Good result yesterday, 3rd.
Yes, could be better, but it was a bad luck, just bad luck.
Well, hopefully we'll have a few more good days, so anything can happen.
I hope so. And still, if we're flying, I'm quite happy about the results in the finish, but if we don't fly, still the 4th place is not good for me.
I'm sure there's plenty of days for you to catch up. Well, have a great flight today, and we'll see you later on the ground.
Thank you.
Right, okay. It's a quick chat with Thilo, our winner from yesterday. He's just strapped in. This is his family. They're great supporters of him having yet another holiday. Hi, Thilo.
Hi.
Well done yesterday.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
But it's a complete reset again now. Everybody's level playing field. 10 points up for grabs. How many are you going to get?
Today, well, I'm always looking for as much as possible, but getting in the points at all at this very high potential field is already a big goal. So I'm just looking forward to a nice flight and hope to have a lot of fun. It's a very scenic flight today. And if I like to fly, sometimes it also works out good. Let's see.
You've been taking photographs for us during the race. How do you find time to take the photographs?
Well, that's part of the game. I just enjoy gliding so much that I think I have to share this wonderful moments we have there. And yesterday I took a picture when I was finally finding the right thermal. I was so happy that I said, well, now just relax and enjoy flying back home.
It was a great thermal and it gave us a great race, so thank you very much for that. Good luck today, and we'll see you when you come home.
Thank you.
Right, okay, see who else we've got round here. Kai. Let's go and see if we can, if you can follow me over here, Freddie. See if we can have a quick word with Kai. Kai, do you have a moment?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you phoning home or are you planning your task?
Glider is okay now.
Yeah, good.
And now they are planned already.
Yes.
I have the second task in the systems, and I think it's a little bit tricky to go around the corner here.
Yeah.
But yesterday I was close to have some points, and maybe I get them today.
We hope so.
You
providing.
hope it?
Yes, well, you're providing us some great entertainment. We're always watching you, Kai.
Okay, that's great. That's at least a little bit.
So with this, it's interesting. The first two turn points taking you to the west.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an opportunity for you to do something different from the others?
I don't think so. I tried it at the training day, but there is no choice. You have to take the conservative way, and I will do that.
Okay.
I have that deep in my mind.
Okay, Kai. Have a good day. We'll see you when you get back. Right. Mind the wingtip. We'll wander down here. Peter's there. Just seeing who else we can grab. Just trying to find a few more people that we haven't spoken to. Peter, we have spoken to. 57. Yeah, Captain Tom. Let's have another chat with Tom. He didn't have the best of days yesterday. He landed out. He made a key decision on the way home, and we ought to ask him a bit about that. Tom. Yeah. Can you?
Sean.
Hi. Well done yesterday.
Thank you. Didn't get home though, but it was an interesting flight.
No, but you made a decision which we applaud.
Yeah.
To make a safe landing rather than pushing it too hard.
But before that, I made a decision to go onto the flat, which almost worked for me, competitively wise, and I just didn't have a final glide, unfortunately. So I looked at the ridge and the trees, and the likelihood is that I would have been able to get over them, but I don't push that likelihood too hard. So no, I went to a nice field.
Now, we were watching and we were worried, and then we saw you make the decision. So yeah, well done for doing that. And I believe Mike Young is very pleased that you did that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's his glider.
Yeah, it's his glider, absolutely. Yeah, good. So the wonderful thing about Sailplane Grand Prix racing is level playing field again. There's another 10 points up for grabs today.
Absolutely.
How many of those are you going to grab?
Well, there's 4 more days, so 40 points may well win it.
Indeed, yes, you could win. That's double the number of points the winner has at the moment.
Mathematically, it's correct, but yeah, we'll see.
Good. Okay, well, I hope to see you there, Tom. Cheers. Have a good day. Right. Kerry polishing his wing down there for you. Dada. Let's see if we can have a quick chat with Dada. Dagmar is Roman's girlfriend. Dada. Hello. It's much more fun to talk to you than it is to Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, how's your competition been?
Oh, I don't know. I was in this year,
Yes,
you mean?
yeah.
So I love this airport because it's very nice. The people are beautiful and very friendly, and there is a swimming pool. So it's very nice to be a crew here.
Yes. And where's the worst place to be a crew?
Oh, maybe in Australia, in Narromine, it was beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, have a nice day. What have you done with Roman? Where's he off to?
Roman is there in the car, I think, and he must go to the toilet.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That's enough. Okay. Thanks, Dada. Right. See who else we've got down here. Giorgio's there. Let's have a chat with Giorgio. And what I'd really like to do is chat to Didi. Yeah, here he is. Actually, just follow me over here then, Freddie. Didier. He made a great break for it yesterday, and it almost worked for him. Let's see if we can find out a little bit more about that. Hi, Didier. You provided us some fantastic entertainment yesterday, and it very, very nearly worked for you.
Yes. It's a game. The last thermal here, I mean, it took a long time to arrive. Yeah. So I took time, and when it became really good, everybody went there. Yeah.
You were 10 kilometers out in front, and if you'd have managed to stumble across the climb that Thilo had, you'd have been home 5 minutes in front of the others.
Oh yes, I didn't know that.
We were watching on the tracking, and you were so far out in front. We thought, there's not much you can do wrong from here. But just didn't get the climb, and everybody just piled in after you.
That's it. But in fact, this Grand Prix is a bit different than the ones I flew, because it's like it's really a gaggle flying. I hate that. Yes. And okay, some of them they just fly gaggle. The play is just follow Sebastian and try to come home before him at the end. Okay, it's not so exciting for me. Yeah.
There's a few pilots who want to do their own thing, and you're one of them, and that makes it very entertaining for us. So please keep doing your own thing. It's good. And best of luck today. I know you haven't got a great many points yet, but there's potentially 4 more days. That's 40 points.
Sure.
The leader only has 20, so you can still win.
Yes, that's calculation, yes.
Good. Okay, well, we look forward to entertainment later.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right. Okay, who else we got down here? Giorgio. We ought to have a quick chat with Giorgio. Came middle of the points yesterday and is joint overall leader. Let's see if we can have a quick word. Giorgio, you're looking very relaxed this afternoon.
Yes, I'm waiting the weather. We will see. Every day is a surprise. Yeah. We will see. We have some cumulus. I hope that they increase the altitude, and I hope to fly not in a big group, because I hate big gaggles. Yeah. And then we will see.
We were just talking to Didier, and he says he doesn't like flying in the gaggles and will do his own thing. Kai Lindberg also always does his own thing. It'd be good to see you doing yours as well.
Because the problem is the season, that we cannot fly now in the mountains. Flying in the mountains could be much more different.
So what you're referring to is we're actually flying in the foothills really, rather than the proper mountains. You'd prefer to go deeper in and higher in the mountains?
Yes, deeper in the mountains is the best for me. I'm a mountain pilot. Yes. Yes.
In fact, your nickname is the Mountain Rat.
Yes, my nickname comes from New Zealand when I flew the qualification Grand Prix. Yeah. And there was a Limi pilot that gave me this nickname, seeing the video flying on the ridge.
Was that Lemmy Tanner?
Yes.
Ah, Lemmy. Yes, I know Lemmy. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Story.
So, level playing field again.
Level playing?
Level playing field. Everybody has an equal chance again today. 10
yes.
points up for grabs.
Yes. You know, with the Grand Prix, you never know. Up to the end, we are at least 8-9 pilots that can win the competition. So, sure.
Indeed, if we have 4 more days, there's 40 more points. It's still very open.
Yes, it's open, absolutely. Absolutely, we'll see.
Well, we look forward to some more entertainment today. Yeah, best of luck,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you when you come home. Right, see if there's anybody else on the grid. No, I think we'll probably call it a wrap there. Thanks, Freddie. And good afternoon and welcome to day 5 of the Sailplane Grand Prix here in Varese in northern Italy. Beautiful sunny day again today, and we've got a 157, just under 158 kilometre task for you. The start is delayed just a little bit. On your screen you'll see the start time counting down, 12 minutes and 45 seconds to go. The competitors are all launched. Everything was straightforward today in the launching. They're all up on top of Campo de Fiori, just chilling out, waiting for the clock to tick down. Everybody roughly at the same sort of altitude, around the 1500 metre mark. We'll look at the weather. Weather today, we're in a high pressure area here in the middle of Europe. So the pressure gradient is pretty slack, so we're not expecting any significant wind, just a valley breeze. No other significant weather to talk about. This morning it was pretty moist, and we had quite a lot of mid-layer cloud, but that seems to have burnt off. But it's a risk a bit later that we could have some of that coming back, and that slowing down the heating. But certainly from what we can see out the window here, it's pretty good. Lots of cumulus along all of the mountains. We're expecting cloud bases to be around the 1700 metre mark here around the first couple of turn points, but as they go east it may perk up a little to around the 1800 metre mark. Thermal strengths, we've seen 1 to 1.5 metres, and it's possible to have up to 2 metres, potentially a little later on in the afternoon. So 11 minutes to go. You can see all the competitors just climbing on Campo de Fiori. You can see the first, actually it's not the first turn point, on the left hand side of the screen you can see actually it's turn point 3. So we'll talk you through the task now. Benji's given us the full screen. So from the start they're actually going to head west. This is the first time they've headed west this series. So they'll come off the mountain, go through the start line, and then head to turn point 1, which is Lavino. And from Lavino they'll head north-east to Germano, Setemi, and then come back to Germano on the end of the Campo de Fiori at turn point 3. And then from there they've got a much longer leg at 60 kilometres down to a turn point called Kong. And from Kong they fly straight back again through the control point, 47 kilometres plus another 5 kilometres from the control point into the finish. So that's our task today. Total length of 157.9 kilometres. This is race 4, although it's day 5. We lost the day on the first day. The weather wasn't good enough. So whilst they launched, we actually scrubbed the race in the air before the start. But today we're on schedule now for a start in 9 minutes and 40 seconds. So the competitors just making sure they're all at the right altitude. I can see Kai Lindberg there is a little low. He needs to start climbing fast. What's interesting about today is the climbs on Campo de Fiori are not so great, and they seem to be actually climbing out in the flat a bit. Well, we call it flat, but it's all relative really. It's quite hilly, except you can see a better view there. It's sort of the foothills here around the town of, or city of Varese, shall I say. There was a hot spot there yesterday over the stadium that, if I remember rightly, Kai found. And they're climbing now 1,500 metres, just under 1,600 metres, some of them. And the guys that were climbing on top of Campo de Fiori have spotted them, and they're coming off the mountain to climb behind the line. The start line here is the green box you can see on your screen. and they need to be behind the start line 1 minute before the start, and with 5 minutes to go they can only turn left. Right turns can be a maximum of 90 degrees. So actually if they were on the mountain and then come off the mountain, they need to turn right almost 180 degrees, so that's quite tricky. So it's an advantage for them to be behind the line. Benji's just given us a great overhead. You can see all of the competitors there, somewhere around 1300 to 1600 meters. 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Hopefully Brian will be able to give us an idea of if there's anything else happening.
Just going to check the altitude, Sean.
And sorry, Brian's just coming to check the altitudes, just to make sure it's going to be okay for a start. We've had to, part of the problem we've had today is the weather's changed a little, so we've actually had to change the task. This is the second task that they've had, which is keeping the competitors further to the west, rather than the original task took them a long way to the east. So this one, keeping them a little bit more local. Can you tell us why you did that, Brian?
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, we had a problem this morning, Sean, because the weather didn't really cooperate. It started off sunny, it clouded down a little bit, and it clouded over a bit, sorry, and it looked like it was going to go wrong for us. So we thought about it, we looked at the information, and originally the task was way out to the east again. But to the east it looked like it was a lot more cloud cover and lower cloud. So it looked like we probably couldn't launch as early, so we changed to a task which takes them initially a little bit west and north of Calcinate and the Varese region. This is because we've had good sunshine there for quite a long time. And the thermals are going well here. We have cumulus, but not very high, mostly about 1600 meters, which may sound like a lot if you're a flatland pilot, but when you've got the mountains around at 17 and 1800 meters, it's not so high. We have a bit of a problem here with the airspace in Lugano being so close, and we wouldn't normally have turning points as close as this, but we need to separate people as soon as possible, give pilots the option. So we go quite a short first leg to the circuit, which takes them out to the northwest, and then to the northeast, then back, and then the race will start proper. So there's a short triangle, followed by a long race to the east. So we expect to see a little bit of separation in the group in the short triangle, but then the decisions will really be taken in the next part. If it's a close start with everybody together, it's going to be very busy in the first couple of turn points there.
Okay, just coming up to 5 minutes. Just explain a little bit about the tracking. Unfortunately, we've lost one of the trackers, or certainly lost a signal from one of them, and it's in Tom Claffey's glider. But we've checked on another system. He is fine. He's flying with the rest of the group. And depending on where he is, we'll give you some checks and let you know where he is in the pack by following the other system. So Benji, if you can give us a picture of them climbing, so we can zoom in a little bit behind the line. Peter Panic on the north side of the ridge here at Campo de Fiori, and just lost a little bit of information from him, but he's back now in the group. Here's a good view. Looks like the majority of the competitors are all around the 1500 to 1600 meter mark. The only one who's struggling a bit is Kai, down at 900 meters, but he is climbing slowly. He's got just under 4 minutes, so it's possible that if the bubble comes through, he may be able to get up with the others, but at the moment it doesn't look great for him.
No, and Kai wasn't one of the last ones to launch. He was 20 minutes before the end, so he's had plenty of time to get up. Well, let's see how he gets on, but I'm not sure what his rate of climb is, but he'd better find something good fairly quickly. He's got the two groups to choose from, who have both climbed up quite well. We can see the group to the east, Romans and Didier and Co. at 1,590, 1,600, and the group to the more to the west with Sebastian and Rene and Peter Panek and Giorgio. They're all up about 1,500 meters. So everybody in a good position to start. I wonder if Kai's got one of these logger bugs, although he's climbing now, so maybe he's going to be all right.
Yeah. One of the things you might have missed before you came in, Brian, is they were all trying to climb on Campo de Fiori, but actually they weren't getting as high as they are out in the valley.
Right. Well, when we look outside, we can see we've got nice cumulus, Sean, and the cumulus are spreading out. Not spreading out, but they're widespread. So it's a good chance that today the race will take place in the plain. We expect that, but where we thought it would probably be only tiny cumulus and almost blue, looks like we're going to have a bit of more cumulus, and therefore we'll have a better race. We had to shorten it a little bit. It was a little bit shorter than we'd like, but I'm sure these guys will make the most of that.
So just counting down to 2 minutes now. I noticed you've moved the start line today, Brian.
Yes. Well, the start line is nearer to Campo de Fiori, and it's moved that way because we didn't expect people to climb much above 1,500 meters. And in the direction that they're starting, if the pilots are waiting on Campo de Fiori and they have to come back to the start line, they then will turn right to enter the zone, and it'll be very tight with everybody close together. And this is an unnecessary risk that we create, and so we moved the start line further to the north, which means that they will be able to start more comfortably from behind the start line. What I hope we will see is the gliders streaming out of these two thermals and going straight through the start line without having to make any manoeuvring. A little bit like a yacht race, you know, when you're trying to get lined up, you want to get the timing just right, so you can be absolutely set and going straight before the well before the start line, so that you don't have to manoeuvre just before you get there.
In fact, now with 40 seconds to go, we can see that Carlos Roca has made a break for the line. The rest of them still circling. Carlos is a little bit too early. Do you think he's got the time wrong?
No, I think he's going to fly along the line. He's got the altitude. He's going to fly along the line and wait for it to open and then turn right and go through. This is, he's turning left. Oh, he's going to turn around and come back. This is not a great tactic because he's going to meet everybody else coming towards him.
Yes. Yeah.
And Carlos is not really doing a very sensible maneuver there in front of everybody else coming in.
I think he must have just realised his mistake.
I think he might have made a mistake there, and he might be regretting it now. We can probably zoom in a bit, Benj, and just see where everybody is now as they come through the line.
Yeah, gates open, and the first through looks like Ricky Brigliadori, closest to the mountain. Werner Arman out on the flatlands. That would be quite spectacular from outside.
It looks like they're very close together. It's only 5 kilometres wide, that start line. And you can see that the Maximilian and Christoph Rusch are way over on this side, on the western end of the line. And everybody's flying straight back towards Campo de Fiori. They'll run that mountain, and then they'll turn left and head off for the Mount, which one's that? Is it Nudo?
Montenudo.
That's
the naked mountain.
The naked mountain, that's it. Well, it won't be naked in a minute. It's going to be covered in gliders.
Indeed, yes. The first turn point's the second red cylinder in the top of your picture on the second from the right. Sorry, second from the left. Ricky reached the top of the ridge and running straight down the spine. If we can get a closer look at all.
Guy's coming up behind now. He's got the altitude. It won't cost him much because he's in a good position. He'll be able to just tag on the back, pick his moment, try to come up to the same height. They're going to fly pretty much as a group for the moment. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in the first couple of thermals while they're all close together, but usually they start to get separated after the probably 2 thermals. They'll start to spread out a little bit. We've never had in a Grand Prix short legs like this to start with. We usually try to have a long leg and give the pilot some options, but we didn't really have any choice about that today.
We just saw Ricky pulling up just at the end of the ridge there, just the last piece of energy off the train before going across the gap. All pretty close together. Werner Arman just on his left wingtip. Christian Abadé, Roman Mercek, Sebastian Carver, and Thomas Gostner in there too. René Vidal, Uli, and Rasmus from Denmark.
I'm not sure whether I'd want to be at the front or in the middle. Werner's obviously taken the decision that he knows where to go. He knows that most people will follow because it's all the same route. His problem will be when he hits the lift on the next mountain he turns, he'll be faced with everybody coming towards him. But if he can establish the turn before they get there, he might well gain a little bit more altitude and find himself on the top, and then he'll be able to centre better in the thermal and climb a little bit more comfortably.
They're pushing quite hard here, 180, 190 kilometres an hour.
I think they can see good cumulus. I think there's cumulus on top of the mountain. They're expecting to climb at 1.5, 2 meters, and so they'll be running into this. The leading pilots will want to get there early and get established in the thermal to push the others underneath them. You can see the pilots flying back in the group are flying just that little bit slower. They just want to see what's happening.
We're just maintaining a little bit more altitude to be a bit more conservative.
That's right. And also, these guys they're really good pilots. They're really mature pilots. They know that in this first thermal isn't going to win the race. What matters in the first thermal is not to get too close to anybody else, not to get in a compromised position, find your place in the climb up and lead off. And the time to start trying to get away from people will be about halfway down the leg going east. Until then, there isn't really a lot of point in trying to pull out in front.
Do you think they'll actually stop and turn before the turn point, or do you think they'll go around the turn and then back into the mountain and find a climb?
Yeah, maybe if Bench puts the altitude up, we'll see what they're like. But if they're down below about 1,300 meters, they're going to want to climb a little here. But they can run over the mountain into the turn and come straight back onto the mountain. Here we are. See, they're 1,200 meters, 1,280, not far off what we said. That height, they can easily run into the turn and back, but it means they'll come back at 1,100 meters. And it's surprising how much difference it makes as soon as you get down below the top of the hill. Once they're down to 1,000, it becomes much more difficult, especially difficult when there are so many gliders together. Werner's got a good route in. He's got the freedom to choose his own route. The followers, they've taken a slightly more left-handed route over the outside, over the lower ground. Well, we'll just see. What we can't see if there's a cumulus on the top there and what it would look like.
So first round the turn looks like Werner Arman, followed by Christian Abadé, Sebastian Carver, and the rest of them are all piling in underneath. Ricky may have stopped actually to try and get a climb beforehand. We'll know if he's got a climb because the others will come back and climb with him, or it might be we just lost a bit of data from him.
Well, he certainly looks to be lower than the others at the moment, so he might have decided that he'll climb up a little here, then tag on at the back rather than try to push out in front from lower down. It's always really difficult. If you're pushing in front and you know that you're a bit lower, you know you're going to get pounced on, you know the group are going to catch you up, and it's not a good idea unless you're really confident you're going to find a good climb to push hard from lower in front.
Yeah, I think we just lost a little bit of data from him. He seems to be running along with Werner. He must have been very close to the hill, and we just lost
the position.
Yeah. So they're coming back on at 1100. That's still good altitude. They should still be able to climb up a little. It may be they can run all the way along this ridge line and then take the second turning point before they stop to climb. They're beginning to spread out just a little bit. Although Kai is coming in there at 1300 meters. He's quite happy because he's about 600 feet, 200 meters above the others. He can just cruise in there over the top and go and take the turn. I wonder if what he'll fix with his glider tonight then.
Indeed, yeah. So far, the story of the race is a pretty clean start. Everybody started by climbing on the flat. Probably the loser was Kai, who was a little bit lower than everybody else. They haven't stopped to take a climb. They ran along Campo de Fiori, jumped over to Monte Nudo, that you can see here now in front of us, through the turn point, and they're now running back northeast. And the decision will be coming up shortly. They're going to need to take a climb before they leave Monte Nudo to go on to the second turn point. In fact, we can see Ricky just searching for a climb there now.
Yeah, I think that there will be climbs at both ends. The question is which one's going to give you the best lift. The group that's gone on to the eastern end seem to be climbing reasonably well, but we can see the group at the western end are already quite a bit higher. Now, I'm not sure they've all been round the turning point, but I suspect they have. You can see that Werner Amma is climbing really quite well there. He's straight back up to 1250 meters. He'll soon be at 1300, 1400 meters and be pushing on to the next turning point.
We've now got a view of the leading gaggle. Just looking at the altitudes, Roman Merchek is in the other group behind at 1500 meters, and we've now got climb rates. Uli Schwenk climbing just over 4 meters, Rasmus at just under 4 meters. So the gaggle behind look like they're climbing better than this gaggle.
Yeah, I think we have to take the rate of climb information cautiously, because it's taken from the GPS altitude change, and we know it can be quite misleading. I would probably halve what you could see on the screen there. If it says he's climbing at 4, he's probably climbing about 2 meters, which is a pretty good climb, especially for today. Yeah. The critical thing today is we don't expect them to get very high. And that makes it a much more difficult race, because it's got to be flown in the flatlands and and along the lower ridges, and they can't actually get into the mountains at these sort of altitudes.
Yeah, Werner Arman has made a break for it, and that leading gaggle actually split into two, and they're turning in opposing directions, which is not really very safe.
No, well, I'm sure they'll sort it out pretty quickly. The gaggle there, the bunch at the back turning to the right, they seem to be climbing quite well. They seem to be going up okay. Werner's at 1200 meters. Well, he's not doing too badly, but the bunch at the back have climbed really well up to 1600 meters, so they're going to catch up in a minute.
And the first two to leave that gaggle at the back was Roman and Sebastian, and they're at 1600 meters.
Yeah.
Just about now to bounce over the top of that thermal and carry on to chase Werner Arman.
Yeah, I think Sebastian's in the group just in front at 1400 meters. They're going to be pretty pleased to be going over the top. Werner's gone on ahead, hasn't he? He's not really in that thermal. He's decided to run towards the next turn point. He probably wants to get away from everybody and have a bit of peaceful time. It's probably pretty busy in that thermal. Sebastian's pushing on as well, and I doubt whether Romans and Didier's going to stop. I think they'll be going straight on.
Yeah, and also interesting that Lawrence has made a break for it, although he's pretty low. And Giorgio Galetto, who made a pretty quiet start, came further south, ran the turn point, didn't stop on Monte Nudo, and has carried on almost over the plain. He's not on the hill at all.
Yeah, well, of course, he might be seeing a little bit of cumulus. He's decided to go for the northern end of the hill. Now, he's not a local pilot, but he knows a lot about mountain soaring, and he'll have a reason for doing that. He'll have seen something that he thinks that he wants to take. It's great to see Lawrence out. Lawrence was talking to me before takeoff, and he said that he's having great fun. He's learning a lot. This is nothing like flying in his native South Africa, but he's really keen to get a point or two before he gets home. Of course, it's really tough. He's flying against really, really top pilots here. And you've only got to make the tiniest of mistakes to find that you can't get into the points.
So Werner Arman just out in front. Lawrence Houdrian just stopping and climbing. Meanwhile, the chasing pack at 1,400 metres or so. Roman Mercek, Didier House from France, and Giorgio Galetto come back together. Werner Arman just stretching his lead a little bit now. He'll need to get to the turn point and then make a decision whether to stop and climb there or to come back onto Monte Nudo or back towards Campo de Fiori.
Looks like quite a good group building there, Sean. There's Giorgio, Roman, Sebastian,
Christophe
Rouge, Didier, all in there together. And if that little group starts to work well together, they'll pull away from the other guys and they'll start to open up a lead.
Yeah, and we've got Zitslav in there for the first time. We've not seen much of him at all.
No, he's been finding it a big learning curve, this competition. It's not what he's used to doing in his racing. He's used to much flatter lands, a little bit more space and a little bit less busy thermals. But he's learning, he's adapting to it. Uli's going on.
Gone.
He's had enough of this. He's decided, I can see Werner ahead. Let's go. Let's keep going, boys. He doesn't want to hang around.
We saw yesterday's winner, Thilo, in that pack as well. So he's still in contention.
Now, what will Werner do next? Will he come straight back to Montefiore, or will he go back on the mountain Nudo, Monte Nudo? It's difficult to know quite what he'll do from that height. I think what he'll be hoping for, you see, he's gone right into the turning point sector. And he will only have gone into that turning point sector like that if he's pretty sure he's going to find some lift. Because it's a big waste of time. He'll lose maybe half a minute or a minute if he flies right into the sector. So he's rather hoping that that'll pay off with a good thermal and a bit more energy so he can come back up to 1,400 metres.
So from this turn point, they head back southwest, another 14 kilometres. So 3 very short legs, and then from there they'll turn east to go 60 kilometres to turn point 4. Giorgio's just joined us after making sure everybody's got safely through the start line.
Good afternoon, everybody.
I think we just need to turn that one on for you. Okay. There you go, Giorgio. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. So what's going on? I'm just looking.
Just to bring you up to speed and give everybody else a recap. Quite a clean start. Everybody's through the first turn at Monte Nudo. They've headed north, and Werner Arman is the first one through. Uli Schwenk is just going through the turn point now, and the rest of the pack, having taken a climb on Monte Nudo, are now streaming out towards turn point 2.
Wonderful. From the altitude I see, it's not too bad. It looks okay for this area.
So, as a local pilot, in these conditions, having gone round turn point 2 now, where will they go? Will they go back onto Campo de Fiori, or will they head to Monte Nudo?
No, I don't think they are going to approach Campo de Fiori from the north, because they would be on the wrong side of the mountain. So the side without the sun. So probably they will go back to Monte Nudo, and then they will cut south to the turning point of Gemonio. Because to go directly probably it doesn't pay too much. So they have to deviate a little bit to the west side, so the left part of the screen, and then they can get to the turning point number 3. And after that, they are perfectly aligned with the track for turning point 4.
Yeah, the overhead shot gives us a much better idea of the route that they're most likely to take. So they've come from the turn point on the left up to the top of the screen, and they're now going back down.
This southwest. Is where Werner is now, is the north side of Monte San Martino, which has a small edge, exactly where Werner is now. Sometime there is not bad. It can be pretty good for the thermal, but in case it doesn't get a good lift over there, he has to continue and to cross between the two mountains, Monte San Martino, that is the one on the east, and Monte Nudo, that is the one on the west side.
He stopped to try and climb, but he's not climbing particularly well. But he needed something.
Maybe he's trying to center the thermal, because if he can get some 100 meters from there, then he can move in a better position.
Yeah, just 1 meter at the moment. The rest of the pack streaming through the turn point and heading towards him, slightly to the west of where Werner is.
Yeah, maybe there is a cloud that we cannot see right now. Yes, Uli is starting thermaling as well. Roman and Thilo. They are probably approaching the position of Werner.
And it's good to see they're all spreading out a little now. People are making different decisions, going in slightly different directions. Lawrence back there, Golf Oscar uniform, he obviously got a little bit low on the north side of the mountain. And I think that shows that Lawrence is just not that familiar with the region to go there. Don't you think so, Giorgio?
Yeah, probably yes, because probably he doesn't have a big experience in mountain flying, and so some tricks that we have probably he doesn't know.
And you can see now that there's actually quite a split in the fleet. Christophe Rouche has led another gaggle with Giorgio Galetto further south than the group at the top of the screen that are following a more southwesterly route.
Yeah, Roman is rejoining. So Roman made first he followed the first group. Now is following the big gaggle, the big group, and is coming from the west. But he is going to approach the other glider and continue with them, together with Christoph Rucker.
Looks like Ricky's having a determined flight today. He's not waiting for everybody, and he's pulling them along. He's decided that if they're going to fly with him, they're going to have to go fast and they're going to have to go low. Werner's tactic of going back to Monte San Michel, was it? He's not
San
really
Martino.
paid off. San Martin. He's not really paid off that well.
Yeah, Max was at the beginning trying to following Ricky, but then he saw the other glider on his right, and so he came back to the mountain to stay with the other.
So will Ricky come straight around the side of Campo de Fiori from there?
Yeah, from there he will cross the valley. In the middle of the valley we have this airstrip, Mascioni, and just south of this airstrip we have a hill that gets sun at this moment, and so he probably is pushing over there to try to find the thermal, and or maybe to get the ridge. And then you see this the airstrip is just below Ricky now with these big white buildings. Exactly, this is the strip, and so he's pointing that village, which has the hill are sunny at the moment, and then he would like to make the turning point and go back to the ridge of Campo de Fiori.
And then be on the southern side of Campo de Fiori, where the sun has been beating there all day.
Exactly.
He's not going to arrive very high, though, is he? 700 meters, maybe?
Yeah, he's not going to be very high, but I believe that also in the flat, just beside the ridges, it's possible to find something. So it's not in a perfect position, but still can manage the situation at the moment.
I think Giorgio has spotted this, and he's probably going to try the same tactic.
Yep.
Low at the turning point, onto Campo de Fiori, and look for the good climb back up.
Yeah, maybe there are some clouds in the middle of the valley which we can see at the moment, and probably they are following the pattern of the cloud to reach the turning point. Ricky now is very close to the turning point and didn't lost so much altitude to reach the turning point.
It's a great view, Benj. We can see what happens now, because we can see the group with Sebastian and Roman. They haven't climbed up that much. They're not very high, but they're dropping quite a long way back. They're several kilometers back now.
Yep. Sebastian seems that he's waiting for the other to move. Probably they will leave right now.
But I'm pretty sure, Giorgio, that group on top of that mountain will not have seen Ricky and Giorgio going ahead.
No.
So we could have quite an exciting time if they wait for each other now.
Yeah. Probably the only one who is looking Ricky is Giorgio. He saw him. He know him very well. He know he's a very good pilot in flat. and also in mountain, but especially in flat. So he's turning the turning point, and then he will push on the lower side of the ridge where we release the glider today.
And what's the speed, Benj? How fast are they flying? Are they flying very conservatively?
We've just got Ricky going through the turn point now. And
they are flying slowly.
Yes, 120, 130 kph, so 70 knots.
The other on the back, you see they are pushing 170, 160 to try to close the gap. But the choice of Ricky probably is to fly alone. He doesn't want gliders around. Giorgio probably spotted the thermal.
Yeah, it looks like he's turned. And just incidentally, if you want to ask us any questions, we've got a Skype channel that you can ask us a question on, and that is SGP Varese. So SGP Varese, no space in there. And you can send us a text message. We can't take any calls, unfortunately, but you can send us a question by text, and we'll do our best to answer them as the rest of the fleet comes streaming into turn point 3.
Yeah. So it seems Roman, Tilo, and Uli, they are almost in the same position. The other glider is a little bit on the back, few 100 meters below, or 100 meters below. They are in Tilo, Roman, and also Rasmus is joining from the north, from the mountain. Ricky is low at the moment. They are in good position to reach the top of the ridge, because the mountain is not has a different altitude on the ridge. This side of the mountain is lower than the eastern part, so probably they are just in a good position to reach the top of the ridge and continue.
Ricky's gone out into the flat.
Yeah.
Very low. Giorgio looks to be in the better position, and
at the moment, yes,
running onto the first peak of Campo di Fiori, and then there's a spine that he could follow and almost fly uphill.
Yep.
From there.
Yep.
He's not quite on the mountain yet, but Giorgio, do you think he would climb at the south end of the mountain or on that western face?
Maybe at the western face, just below Fortiorino, which is the first edge now at the top of the screen. This upside down V you can see on top of the screen. That is the place he will be pointing, because that is it's a slope that you can follow, and maybe the thermal is starting from that point.
Nicely spreading out, but I suspect they'll all come back together again in the next thermal.
Yeah, that can be.
So Giorgio, he's still 1,000 meters.
Yep.
He hasn't turned. The group that left the last mountain are down already at 900 meters, having gone round the turn. They're 100 meters below Giorgio, and they've got another couple of kilometers to go to catch up with him. And Giorgio is just climbing nicely along the face of the mountain.
So he decided to continue on the ridge, and we will see, because Campo di Fiori is not an easy mountain to get a thermal. It's not very difficult as well, but we will see how tricky it will be to find a thermal. So Giorgio and Rasmus are very close one to each other. Rasmus is lower, only few meters. We will see.
Giorgio, we've had a question about the wind direction today. I know it was pretty slack on the airfield. Will there be a valley breeze now coming up the side of the mountain?
In the next hours, for sure, the valley breeze will develop. At the moment, on the upper part of the atmosphere, or the upper part of the sky where the gliders are flying, we have a little bit north wind, but very weak, only a few kilometers per hour. On the lower part, at the moment, is still calm, but during the afternoon, it's quite clear that some local breeze will develop.
And in which direction?
Probably from southwest or southeast, depending how the valley is, the shape of the valley is.
Yep.
But mainly from south. But only a few kilometers per hour, maximum 10 kilometers, like yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. So no gradient wind influence at all?
No, absolutely.
No. Okay.
Not good for dynamic flying. Only it just helps the thermal to get new air from the bottom, which is pretty warmer, and helps the thermal to continue during the day.
We've got one other question here, actually, from a competitor who should have been here. That's Gary Stingemore wants to know, Brian, if you've bought a beer yet.
Bought a beer?
Yeah.
At the end, Gary. We'll get round to that when the time comes.
Yeah. It's a shame Gary couldn't be here with us, but he's got new family commitments, I understand.
Actually, here it's marvelous because the one of the sponsors is a beer company, and we've been very well looked after, and the beer is absolutely first class, isn't it, Giorgio?
Yeah, sure.
Nearly as good as the flying.
Yes.
What sort of height are they coming off there at now?
Around 900, I believe. 1,000 to 900 meter.
We'll just see if we can get a graphic up on the right-hand
Yeah,
side of the screen
900,
showing the
1,900.
altitudes. Yeah, we go. Yeah, change the labels. Well done, Benj.
Now we will see what they are going to do. If to try like yesterday and stay on the right side of the track, on the flat, on the hills south of Classo, and then joining Como and Alzate area, or if they try to do the same as yesterday and so to go left of the track and try to get the mountains over there. But as far as I see here, they didn't get anything or almost nothing on the ridge. So maybe this is a chance to decide to go straight on in the flat.
It doesn't look very inviting, though, does it? When you look out over the flat at only 900 to 1,000 meters, it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot of fun until you find another thermal.
Yeah, but at the same time, to be at 1,000, 1,200 meter on the ridges of the mountains, not finding strong thermals is also frustrating a bit. So sometimes it's better just to keep the track, to try to fly as less kilometer you can. It seems that they got the thermal. Tilo is climbing quite well. They are all together.
We've had another couple of questions about the weather and whether or not we can show what's going on outside. It's manpower and budget is really restricting us, but if you follow the grid walk, you'll see the weather as we're doing that at the beginning of our commentary.
But they can have a look at the weather looking our webcams on our internet site.
That's true.
We can have a look.
Yeah. If you Google a cowl, find the club's website, you'll see the webcams. In fact, I think the webcams are actually on the SGP site as well.
The SGP site, just look at the drop-down menu and the race coverage.
And we have a camera that is at our windsock, so just on the south side of the runway, that is just showing the Campo dei Fiori mountain. So at the moment, it's in real time, so at the moment, maybe you can even see the gliders flying.
For those of you who are worried about not having seen Tom Claffey, we think we've got a equipment failure in his glider, of our tracker, not of his glider. We can track him in another way, and we're looking at that every now and then, and he's having a good time, about middle of the pack.
Roman is almost at the maximum altitude in this area. You see, very good climb, up to 3 meters.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And he has to leave because soon he will be at the maximum altitude.
This is because of the Lugano airspace?
No, this is the limitation of the blue airspace we have, that is just limiting the altitude, because above this altitude we are in a class A airspace and we cannot fly with gliders or with VFR flights inside this airspace. Okay, he knew it, and so he left the thermal just at the top of the airspace. Wonderful job, Roman.
1,600 meters for
that's
Roman.
perfect. But that's perfect. Now this situation gives him the choice. He can choose. The other, they are almost obliged at that altitude. He can choose whatever he wants to do. He's the highest of the group. You look, Sebastian is 400 meters lower, almost in the same position.
One of the things that's really fascinating about this Grand Prix racing is that not 10 minutes ago we were talking about Werner Armann striking out in the lead, and we can't even see him in the first two gaggles now.
That's right, and Ricky pushing on to the turning point, and his history nowhere to be seen. He's probably circling around the airfield trying to find some lift to stay up at the moment. But the good thing is that we have again quite a different tactic, and I think Romans is a very canny pilot.
Yep.
He always seems he never seems to get himself into real trouble. He always seems to be able to find the lift that gets him a little bit higher, and he's not pushing on independently, but he's using the other guys intelligently, and he's trying to stay in a good position. We'll see what happens now, because it's beginning to unfold. It's not a very long race. 300 meters here is going to make a big difference to the final result.
Yeah, that's true, Brian. And Thilo seems that he's going to follow the same pattern of yesterday.
He's going to look for the same thermal.
Yeah, I
Maybe
hope
it's
for
still
him
there.
that it will be there.
Yes, we can't see him climbing yet. He's still pushing on, but it does seem like he's got the same plan as yesterday.
Yeah. He said maybe he when the winning team that don't touch the winning team.
Yeah. It's surprising that some of the others haven't tried the same tactic.
Yeah, we will see, because Romain is still in position to follow Thilo, or to keep it staying on the left to go to Monte San Giorgio, to the mine over there, and to try to get a thermal. He was very good in thermaling at Campo di Fiori. He got a big advantage.
And I think at that altitude, I'd be tempted to follow the mountains. I think if once you got up to that height, there's a much better chance of staying at that height if you stay on the mountains. I mean, Thilo's already made the commitment, and Rasmus has made the commitment. He can't go back onto the top of the mountain from there. He's got to follow the lower slopes. But Roman has the option to stay up there now.
Yeah, we will see. I believe Roman see the other glider in front of him from above, so he has the glider on the ground with the background of the ground, so he can see easily the other glider. And I believe that he's controlling the situation. And if he sees Thilo thermaling very well in front of him, he will probably join. Otherwise, he will take another direction.
We're just getting another view so you can see the track line. Thilo's south of it and everybody else is north of it.
Yep.
About 40 kilometres to run to turn point 5. From there they turn round and come back to a checkpoint about 5 kilometres from the airfield, and then it's a short run in from there to the finish.
Yep. I'm surprised about the average speed of Romain. It's pretty higher than what I was expecting.
He's chasing hard now.
Yeah. He's controlling the situation in good position. The glider following him are lower, so he is now the king of the situation.
Yeah, Walter's back in the race. Look, Werner, sorry,
Yeah.
Werner Emmons, he's back up there. He's obviously got the good climb on Campo di Fiori, and that's brought him back up with the leaders. Uli's hanging on in there. It's 1,100 meters.
Roman got a thermal probably.
Yes, in the area where Thilo has stopped as well. Rasmus is out there somewhere, just missing a little bit of data, but I'm sure it'll pop back in a moment.
Looks like they're flying into a little GPS black hole there.
Yeah.
Giorgio's dropped back a little. He and Sebastian are together, and Didier.
Yep. This is a group of 3. Max in front of them, a little bit lower, so under control. Thomas is following very close. So we have a great group of pilots here. And
So
Rick, Christophe and René Vidal also following, same altitude.
So they're done with the mountains. They're coming off the mountains now into the flat.
Can we, Benji, please, let's see us show where Ricky is now.
I'm just going to have a search around for that while we're changing the view. We've got a message from Philip Depeche, actually. He wants to ask Gary Stingemore whether he prefers to watch cricket or the Sailplane Grand Prix.
Well, we don't want to know the answer to that.
Well,
Because
we
if
know
he
the
says
answer.
cricket, it's obvious.
Yeah,
that
we
the guy
won't
needs,
say that, yeah.
Yeah, needs a beer.
Okay, Ricky is leaving Campo di Fiori and is moving his track. His pattern seems to be to the city of Varese, near the horse training facilities, and it's not bad in altitude, but for sure he's missing some 300 meters from the other.
Christophe Abaday's really dropped back there.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not having a great day at the moment.
His first couple of days were very good, and now now we've not seen much of him the last couple of days.
No.
Look, Didier chose another way. Didier is pointing the mountain. He's going up there, while all the other are looking for the hills of Chiasso. And Carlos and
Zedislav.
Zedislav is going to the mountain together with Didier. So we have the first separation.
And we presume that Thilo is a similar altitude to the other guys now, or they'll probably be a little bit higher than him. in that thermal. And all this group are going to be back in the same thermal in a moment. Come on, Didier, up that spine, 1,300 meters, and let's see if you can do it today. You gave us such good entertainment yesterday.
Yeah, he is approaching Monte San Giorgio just at the limit, just over the ridge. We will see very soon if the mine down there is giving good pull up, and we will see if we can get something. At the moment, seems not too bad.
Is this the quarry on the right-hand side that we can see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will he turn on the top, or will he just run straight on?
Normally, if it's good, we turn here. If it's not very good here, we just keep going on to the other edge of the mountain, the other point on the left of our screen. And over there, normally the thermal is okay, because that mountain is separating the lake from the flatland, so it's normally a good spot for finding thermals.
And we can see he's flying pretty slowly. He's trickling along there, trying to get the benefit of just running in an energy line.
So the other group is left the thermal. They are flying straight on. Uli is leading, and Werner in second position, with Romain controlling, like before, everybody from above. Yeah, you can see Roman is the highest glider.
Roman's really matured over the past 2 or 3 years. When we first started to see him in Sailplane Grand Prix, where his results were very much up and down, he's much more level-headed now about it.
And the same in his World Championship flying. He's become a very consistent pilot. And consistency, really important if you want to win competitions. The scoring system in the Sailplane Grand Prix allows you to take a sporting risk on some days to get ahead, but you still need to get in the points nearly every day if you're going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, great view Benji's giving us there of Uli out in front, Werner Arman, who's been in the front, been almost to the back, and now back in the leading group again, followed by Rasmus and Giorgio Galetto, with Max and Sebastian not too far away. And there's a surprise, Sebastian at below 1,000 meters. I don't think I've seen that all week.
Yeah, and something that people can listen from home and try to understand. You can imagine how frustrating can be for a pilot in a group to be the lowest one, because you are thinking how I can get the other, but then I can catch the other. But when you are the leading one, the higher one, then you feel relaxed, because you say, okay, let's see what happens, because it's no problem. I'm the higher one, the highest one, so I can just wait the other to see what they do.
Yes, yeah.
And it's not made easy when we have the conditions like we have at the moment, where the thermals are quite short-lived. And the first glider, the first sailplane into the thermal, he can get a nice climb, and the second one a nice climb, and you come in a bit low, and it's just not there for you. And it's a very bad feeling when you make your turn and there's nothing in it.
Yeah, and at this time of the season, we are in mid-September, so the summer is almost over, and it's tricky, because the separation between the lowest level of the atmosphere and the level just above sometimes is very, very critical. So maybe at 700 meter it's still good. At 600 you have no chance to climb anymore. So it's very tricky to decide what is the range for flying, and how you can risk, what you can risk, and what you have to be very, very clever and use your altitude as the best solution.
So are we approaching the Fiord Alzate?
We are approaching the city of Como. That is the one
yeah.
on the left lower corner of the screen. These hills, look, Uli is trying to get the thermal probably, and Roman is over there, but he can see it.
Coming to join him.
Yeah, he's pulling up. You see the climb average is pretty high, because they are pulling up. Yeah, it seems Uli got a thermal.
Yeah, they need some height here. And from here, do you think they'll cross the lake and go to, is it Bisbino?
No, that's Monte Bollettone.
Bolletto.
Yeah, they will cross just if they get enough altitude, they just cross the city just south of the lake. You can see the soccer playground, the soccer stadium of Como. It's in the center of the screen, together with the lake. they will just cross south of the lake, just at the border, to reach the mountain and at the center of the screen that is Monte Bolletto.
Sebastian seemed to go off to the left just before this thermal, so maybe
No,
he
he's
didn't.
together,
He's come back.
but
yeah.
it's 300 meter lower now.
Yeah, he's come back into it. He's seen
Yeah.
them climbing, so he's decided that he wants some of this as well.
Yeah.
And Didier, how's he getting on now?
Yeah,
Has-
Didier and Ricky, it will be interesting to see how they are dealing.
Yes, and out in the flats, Ricky's gone off on his own, and we're just trying to find him and work out what he's done, and then we'll try and bring you that picture. Just coming shortly, and here we go.
Okay,
Oh, that's
so
Kai,
Didier
actually.
found the thermal and climb, but he's a little bit in the back at the moment, together with Carlos, Kai, and Yadeslav.
Yeah, we've just got another view coming to you of the Ricky out in the flat. He's about 7 or 8 kilometers behind the leading group, but at 1,300 meters.
Yeah, so it's not in a bad position. He decided to fly completely flat. From what we could see by eyes outside here, we saw that there are some cumulus in the flat, nice looking cumulus. So I hope for him that he's not too much in the back and the altitude is not too bad. We have to see in the next 10 minutes what happens.
One of the other questions we've had is if we could show the altitude above ground. I don't think the system's quite clever enough to do that, but we'll try and work on that for next time. So the altitudes you're seeing here are altitudes above sea and are referenced to GPS.
Yeah, but for the people to understand, the average altitude of the flat country is between 300 meter and 400 meters. So it's easy to understand. They are flying below 1,000 meter above the ground.
And the distance to run looks interesting because it looks like Didier hasn't gained very much from his route, and they're not getting really much higher flying over the mountains than the group that's chosen to fly over the small
flats, yeah.
hills by the Como town there.
Yeah, and Rick is only 8 kilometers in the back, but the altitude is good and is in a good position to try to push to the hills south of Como and get the thermal where yesterday Tilo got the good one.
Yeah, Ricky climbing now just over 1,300 meters, but there's that 4 kilometer gap he's got to jump to get to this next thermal. And already Roman is above Ricky's position, so 4 kilometers in front.
So Romain again, the leader of the gaggle, Werner just below with Uli.
There's a fantastic shot of the climb. Yeah.
Thomas is the lower. I don't see Sebastian. I don't know where he is. Probably he's just below or no, he's in the middle. In the middle.
He's in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably banking so much that we've not got a GPS position for him. Same with Giorgio actually. So Roman at the top of the pile. Werner Arman in there. Rasmus. Maximilian Thilo. And Christophe Rouche. We also saw going out into the flat, making his own route, was Christophe Abadet.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas is coming underneath. Thomas does like it low, doesn't he?
Yeah. Sometime yes.
He doesn't seem to mind. He doesn't seem to get stressed by it or fazed by it. He just carries on, and he's cool, Thomas. He would like to be higher, I'm sure, but it doesn't seem to bother him too much if he gets a bit lower. Some pilots really don't like to get low because they get very stressed, but it doesn't seem to affect Thomas.
Yeah, I agree completely. He's normally never stressed. He's always optimistic about the flight and what is going to happen in a few minutes. And he flies a lot in reality because he flies almost every class and every kind of competition. So he's a very experienced pilot.
So with this group, we've only got 7 or 8 gliders in this group. Where's everybody else at the moment, Sean? Are they coming in the thermal behind, or have they gone on the mountains?
There's a couple behind. We saw Didier and Carlos climbing a little bit further to the north, and Zedislav is there as well. We haven't seen much of him this week, actually. Just getting used to it all. The mountains he flies in Poland, the Tatras, not quite like this terrain. I think we've got a little bit of GPS blackout, so it's a bit tricky to show where everybody is. Perhaps we can have an overhead shot of all of the task, and we can show you how far they've got to run.
Look, Roman, how he got 200-meter advantage at the moment.
Do you think he's flying lighter? Do you think he might have dumped a little bit of water?
Yeah, it can be.
And he's got himself a little bit lighter, so he's climbing top, because certainly at these sort of altitudes you wouldn't want to be flying very heavy.
Yeah, and I can tell you, during the pushback I was pushing his glider and it was not so heavy.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
So we've got the overhead shot now. They're heading from west to east. Tilo now just under 28 kilometers to run.
And look, Ricky is gaining, he's coming.
Yeah, 1,300 meters, but the other guys are up at 1,400 meters,
yeah.
So it's still 100 meters below,
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
wants
yeah.
to get in with the group.
Yeah, but he reduced the distance, so he's coming. He almost got the Didier and Carlos' position. Look, Kaká is climbing a lot, 1,700 meter and continuing, so probably in some places the cloud base is pretty higher.
But it must be disappointing for Didier that he hasn't really climbed that much.
Yeah.
They've been on that same area, 1,100-1,200 meters for a while, but he's climbing well now, but it's taken them a long time to get up there. And now they're behind because they're going to have to cross to the next mountain, and where Werner and Seb and co already are.
Yep.
So they're all heading towards Monte Bolletto.
Bolletto, they are reaching Monte Bolletto at the moment. Altitude is good. We will see if they keep going on along the ridges or if they try to stop to find a thermal.
And we've got a new visitor today, Margot, the president of the club. Hi, Margot. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
And I believe you've been lucky enough to be the sniffer this week.
Yes, I'm very happy. After such a long time only watching people flying, it's a very big pleasure.
And having been up today, what were the conditions like earlier?
It was amazing because there were cumuluses everywhere and climbs up to 2 meters. So very, very nice. And at the turning point north, there was 1,650 bays before their start. So it was fantastic. And also the flat land looked beautiful.
Lovely blue lakes, green trees, puffy white clouds. Yes.
Always like that in Couch. Always like that, for sure.
So, for people who are watching, if they wanted to come and fly here, what would they need to do?
Just call.
Just call.
Yes, everybody is very welcome here. And our airfield is not that big, but we have wonderful conditions from, let's say, from March until the end of September.
So there's still time for people who can come down here with their trailer, come and fly with you this year.
Of course. Then after October, November, December, it's not very nice to fly. And from January we start having some days with the north wind, and so the season starts again, not with thermals but with wind.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, we'll just go back to the race for a moment, but don't leave us, Margot, because we want to ask you a little bit more about the club. But for now, this group that we're climbing together, some of them have stopped, but Werner Arman, I just saw, has shot off on his own again down the ridge, and he did this yesterday, trying to strike out on his own.
He paid because he was second yesterday, so at least he got something. But I'm amazed about Roman is always 200 meter above all the other, or 150 meter above all the other, and just checking what the others are doing. He's like the king of the gaggle at the moment.
He is flying so much like Sebastian. It's quite uncanny, really.
probably he learned something and he feel comfortable in this position. The only thing is not nice is turning on the opposite
direction. Yeah,
that's not really very nice.
Yeah.
But he is higher than the other, so there is no danger about that.
Yes, he's got a good 150 meters separation. I'm not quite sure why he's chosen to do that, but
yes, it looks not a very nice gaggle. This one, it's a little bit confused,
a bit messy at the bottom,
yeah, messy,
isn't it?
Yeah, messy.
Yes, but amazing they're still so close together.
Yeah,
After
Giorgio got out of the gaggle. You see how he could close the turn, and he's getting Romain.
So he shifted across. There's probably two cores, and he's now moved across underneath Roman.
Okay, now the situation is not fantastic because they are approaching each other, and they have different patterns. So someone has to decide to do something, I think, very soon.
Well, we'll just see if we can zoom out and see where Werner Arman has gone to.
And also Ricky, we would like to see where Ricky is.
See where Ricky is. Vernon's pushing on 1,100 meters. And back to Margot. Margot, you were telling us on the grid the other day that the club was started in 1961. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, it was built by Adele and Giorgio, in reality by Adele's father who owned this land, and it was built because Adele, who had started flying in Vergiate, which is an airfield which is south of the lake of Varese, was not the right place where to start flights. So coming back from a flight, she looked down and she saw this strip of field. And she asked her father, "Dad, it would be nice.
Can you build me an airfield, please?"
Yes. And so Adele's father was keen to sport. He had already participated in the building of the golf course, which is one of the oldest in Italy. And so he agreed, even if he was a bit scared about a woman, a young mum, starting flying in a glider, but then it went okay, and so since then on this place has been the most beautiful place where all the most important instructors and pilots came just to fly over the Alps.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And I think history is starting to repeat itself a little here, because you had a young family and were flying and have grown up in this club, and Adele must have taken you under her wing to bring you up in your flying. And you've done some amazing flights from here through to the French Southern Alps.
Yeah, it is fantastic. If you think that last year we had two flights starting from here, Alberto Sironi and Luciano Vanzini flew 1,633 K, and the other one 1,450. It is something unbelievable.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you for that. Meanwhile, back at the race, Ricky's stopped and climbed. Werner Arman has pushed on, and he's pretty low at 1,100 meters. The other group, the chasing group, they're up on the hill. Roman Mercek, 1,600 meters now. Giorgio Galetto just pushing on a little bit further with Uli. Sebastian's in there. Maximilian, Peter Panik, and Christoph Rusch and Rasmus from Denmark.
It's funny to see how Giorgio, the mountain pilot, goes to the left for the last ridge before to leave for the flat, and Roman is going straight to the turning point. This is clearly a view of a mountain pilot compared to a flatland pilot.
But the other surprising thing today is the way in which it swings. The people are dropping out and then coming back and dropping out and coming back. We see Thilo's almost back with them, back up at 1,600. I think Werner's going to get caught in a minute. He's going to get overtaken. And Giorgio and Uli have gone off on their own route. So we're looking at, I think, a fairly critical part of the race now when this decision will probably determine who comes home first.
Yeah, the next decision is the one who makes the big difference here. Yeah, Rick is pushing in the flat together with us, with Lawrence, which is pretty higher, and Abadi is much more. It's just at the right high corner of the screen, in the same situation as Ricky. and the other are in good shape. Max is now together with Peter Panik, the highest of the group. Together with Rasmus as well.
If Armand's climbing,
Didier got the group almost.
He did, yes.
Didier got the group again.
Werner out in front, stopped and climbing, and he'll be seeing this lot coming towards him. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, but Werner's cool. He'll go, okay, and he'll just climb up, and who knows if he tags on the back of it again, there's still a chance of catching them. They've got quite a long way to go yet, so they're going to have to come back on these hills. And, in this sort of short racing like this, it's fearsome. You turn the wrong way in the thermal, you lose 50, 60 meters. You do that once more time when you're 2-3 minutes down, and you're really out of the points. They've got to fly very, very accurately and be absolutely precise about where and how they turn.
So now it's easy to see the difference in speed. The higher glider are flying all around 180, 190, 200 km per hour. And the glider leading, but at lower altitude, they have to fly almost at the maximum performance of their glider.
Certainly a lot slower, and the gap is closing down now. Werner just under 10 kilometres to the turn point, and the others all between 12 and 15 kilometres. So not far to go. And from the bottom turn point, they turn back west 47.5 kilometres, and then another 5 and a bit kilometres to the airfield. Pretty much in a straight line. So nobody's on final glide yet. They're still going to have to climb on the way back.
Yep.
So do you think they'll come straight across the flatlands, or do you think they'll come back to the mountain again?
But the deviation from the turning point to going back home, to go back to the mountain is almost 30 to 40 degrees. So it's really a lot. I believe that in the flat anyway the clouds are still good, so I believe they will try the shortest way, because they are not in a so bad condition at the moment, so they just need one more lift and then it's okay. So the risk to make a big deviation now is too high for me.
But they will be tempted back into that last climb. They'll be thinking, we had 1,700 meters there. If we go back there, that gives us more or less final glide. We don't have to take too much risk with that. But see, Werner's altitude now, he's not going to get back into the mountains without a climb.
No, he has to find the thermal here, but this is a good place. He is on the right side of the mountain, because the sun now is afternoon is bright on the west side of the hills, so he's in the correct position to get a good thermal over there. And this is normally this mountain is called the San Genesio, the one we are looking now. It's not very high, and it has a lot of spots where you can find the thermal, because it's plenty of villages and forest, and so normally it's a good place.
Yeah, you pulled up in 3 meters then, but the left-hand side of the thermal was pretty duff.
Yeah, he was got from Romain and the other group. Ricky is the same place, but is 500 meters below.
Below, yeah.
We will see what happens. Werner stopped and continued to time.
Lawrence, when we were between the first and second turning points, Lawrence was 4 kilometers behind and 300 meters lower.
Below everybody else.
Now he's caught up. That is remarkable.
Yep.
Everybody is pushing as hard as they can, as fast as they can, and Lawrence has caught them. So he must have flown really, really well to have caught up like this.
Roman's got a good climb now.
Okay, now if they get a good thermal and they reach 1700, someone can try to come home.
Yeah. And Sebastian's positioning himself now for the last leg.
Yeah.
He's in there. He's the same place, lead group, similar height. This is going to come down to a test of nerve on the final glide, I think, as to who's going to win the day. Romans isn't going to want to let him beat him back, because at the moment Romans is lying, I think he's equal first in the competition, and Sebastian is 4 points behind. So we're going to see quite a little battle here at the on the way back home.
Roman's actually in third place, behind the two joint leaders.
Right, behind the joint leaders, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always difficult to know whether it's second or third when you.
Absolutely, we were talking about that earlier today. Yes, he has 18 points, with Sebastian on 16 points, and joint leaders is Maximilian and Giorgio Galetto on 20 points each.
We need to ask Romain this evening if he got a full bottle of oxygen to fly so high in respect to the other, because he's always above the others.
Benji's just given us a new graphic on the right-hand side, which is the
nice.
the goal altitude height. So they've got 500 meters to climb to be able to be sure to get home.
Yep.
But we've got all the top pilots in it. Where is Giorgio?
No, Giorgio chose another way. Maybe it's interesting to see where Giorgio flew.
What's happened to, because he can't be that far away.
No,
yeah, he's
not.
a little
but probably
bit further to the north.
He's approaching the mountain from the edge, from the northern part. We will see probably in a few minutes.
Maximilian's decided to make a break.
You see, it's coming from the north, and he's already high enough to go to the turning point. But probably we'll try to find a thermal on the northern side of San Genesio, and it will be interesting to see how we can deal with that.
But Roman's is 1,600 meters, Giorgio's 1,400 meters, Sebastian 1,500, and they're similar distance from the turning point.
I'm sure they will go to the turning point and they will be back in this place to get the last thermal.
Yeah, and Didier scorching along there, catching up. A little bit lower, but one good climb, 2 or 3 turns in a good thermal, and they're back together again. So it's quite a big group. I think we've got about 8 or 9 in this group. That's all the points in this thermal that's about to come to the turning point.
Yeah, we're just checking to see where Tom is. We haven't seen him on the tracker. We know we've got a problem with the tracker, not his glider. So we'll just look for him on another system and give you an idea of where he is. Also, just to update you, Christophe Abadé also was flying in the flatlands to the south.
Yep.
And he was down very low, about 5 or 6 kilometers behind this leading group.
Seems Roman is pushing the group.
Roman's going to be first on glide.
Yep.
He's decided that, and he's decided that there's no point now. There's no point in sitting on the top anymore. It's time to get round this turning point and get into. You know that the others will follow. You know that they won't go a different way, and he just needs one more climb.
So
following the ridge, and then we leave the ridge, go to the turning point, back to the ridge, and back to the thermal they flew a few minutes ago.
And Didier now coming down from the north as well.
Yep.
I wonder if there's a cumulus on top of that ridge.
I believe yes. I believe yes.
Roman's left the ridge now, heading straight line towards the turn point.
Altitude is okay. Look, he's in front, pushing, and higher than the other. So it's the best position. Clearly, you don't see anybody in front of you, so you have no idea of what happens exactly. But you know they are all in your back, and you are higher, and so you are confident that something good can happen for you.
Well, there's something bad can happen. You can miss the next big thermal, and they all get it behind
they all catch
you.
it.
Yeah, but when I was flying, I was always thinking to be in front higher, it's a better position than to be on the back lower.
Yeah, not many people understand that, Giorgio, that the only way you win is to get out in front and be confident about your ability and keep on pushing.
Yeah.
Because if you worry about what's going on behind you, you're never going to win.
Yeah.
You have to make your own decisions, and you have to get on with the flight.
He's inside. He's not turning so strict, so probably there is a cloud around here. So he's just looking for the cloud. The other, they are following the same pattern.
And Giorgio a little lower than that group.
300 meter lower, 200 meter from the other. Sebastian is in good position together with Max, a little bit lower.
All the leaders are together.
It's all very tight, isn't it? Thilo in there, Peter Panic.
Ricky is together, but he's low.
Very low.
He's low.
Yeah.
Now Lawrence has a chance to get his much sought after points here. If he just stays with those guys, if he can just keep with these guys now, that's going to put him in the top few places for finishing, and there's a good chance that'll put him in the points.
Okay, let's see where they are pointing. Yes, they are just making the track back to the ridge. And when they start climbing, I think I have to leave you because in few minutes they will be back.
We'll be back on the airfield, yes. Our presentation here is 5 minutes behind what's actually happening, and that's to give us enough time to collect the GPS data and put the presentation together for you.
So only 200 meters to the goal. So probably few turns into the thermal, and then they can leave for coming home.
Yeah, they've gone straight back to where they were climbing before.
Yeah.
Roman's just got there first, just turning up the spine.
Looks Roman is also gliding. The glider of Roman is also gliding very well, because the other are following, but they never gain anything from him.
No.
So it looks like his glider is pretty good, and Uli is also in very good position. I believe we will have a very, very interesting few last kilometer.
Yeah. And Max, look at Max. He's the youngest pilot. He's totally inexperienced, and he's showing no respect for these guys.
Yeah.
He's just making them work. He's sticking in there, and he's saying, "Come on, Sebastian Carl, you might be multiple world champion, but I'm going to show you the way home."
It's very nice to comment such a good pilots and such a short task, but real race. That is what we are here for. So it's always a pleasure to be here, but now it's time for me to leave. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Giorgio. That's great.
Before you go, Giorgio, Sebastian's just pulled in front of him.
Yeah. He's now
okay, so Max will get the points when he comes home.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we'll just let Giorgio go. Brian, while you're here, we just had a question about wing loading. What's the maximum wing loading the competitors are allowed to have?
Oh, I never answer questions about the rules unless they're written in front of me, Sean. But it's 51, I think it is.
51 kilos per square metre.
52, yeah.
Yep.
And it's done to level the playing field as much as possible. But also, we believe that in this sort of flying, Grand Prix flying, that flying a little bit less than the maximum makes the gliders handling better, makes them more manoeuvrable in the thermals, and makes it a little bit safer as well in flying in the mountain region. And some people have suggested that if weekdays, like we're flying in now, we should lower it even more. But I believe that's a choice for the pilot. We should let the pilots decide. We just say what the maximum is. Great view of flying over the town there. Sebastian has decided that he wants to get a little bit in front now. Maybe he wants to put a bit of pressure on the other guys. He knows that to get into the top of the competition, he's going to have to beat Max and Roman's home. So we're in for a very exciting final glide here.
We've got approximately 50 kilometres to go. That's made up of two sections. To the next turn point, they've probably got about 45k to run, and then beyond that, there's 5 kilometres from the checkpoint into the finish here at the airfield.
And Sean, it's your turn today to go and do the airfield and the interview for the first person landing and watch the finishers. So I'm sure you'll be pleased about that. And I'll stay and watch the shop in here for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. See you later.
No, you can't go yet. It'll be another 10 minutes. No, it's very exciting, but because we've got a small delay, the gliders finish just before we can show it on here. And I can't let you go yet because you're so good at keeping us informed where everybody is.
So just to recap, the race has started again at the bottom turn. It's amazing how the places have changed. Werner Armand's been out in front, at the back, in the middle, and there he is in 5th or 6th place at the moment.
Maybe this is the climb that gives them the height. If they climb up here to 1,350, 1,400 meters, the hard part of the race is over. The exciting part now is who can be the most efficient in the glide home, because it's a long way and quite a lot can happen. You can position, the altitudes can change by 50 or 60 meters between them, and that can make quite a big difference to who gets home first. Don't forget, in this scoring system, it doesn't matter how much you get home before the other guy, you just got to get home before him to get the points. And you only need 1 second in front of him to get the one more point. And the first day, we had 4 seconds in between the first 3 places. And that's not totally unusual in this sort of flying. So they're all building themselves up, they're getting ready for this final glide. They're all thinking about whether or not they could just risk leaving a bit early or whether they should wait. But if you get a group like this, all the pilots who are leading in the competition, then they will want to stay together and they'll want to fight it out in the last couple of kilometres.
It's just been pointed out to us that Lawrence seems to have taken a different route. He's a little bit further north than the others, as is Thilo, and climbing.
Maybe Lawrence has got his jet power going today. He's certainly flying like he is. Yeah, got his jetpack on. Thilo's not really got enough height to get home, but you never know. He might be trying it.
Yeah. Sebastian's
made a break for it. Yeah. Romans is behind him. Max is behind him. They're not going to let him get away. And I think Sebastian's decided it's worth a try now. He's probably got about a 1 in 40, 1 in 38 glide, something like that. So we'll just have to watch now and see how this unfolds.
But also Lawrence is there or thereabouts on our final glide calculator. So it's going to be a big push to the finish, a wide spread of finishes.
Yeah, and if the one thing Lawrence is good at, that it doesn't make any difference where you are, it's final gliding. He's got nerves of steel, and he won't be at all concerned about having to push on the final glide. Well, Sean, looks like you ought to go and see what's going on outside, and you can see which of these guys gets home first. Yes. And we look forward to seeing the interview with him.
Okay, see you later.
So I got the hot seat now for a while. Well, on the altitude that they need to come home, we can see that Christoph is minus 45 meters. He's highest, but I think he's got a little bit further to go. Have we got a distance bench to come home? See, Rush is just a fraction higher than everybody else. We'll show you the distance that you've got to come in a moment. Sebastian's better. Sebastian's decided that he wants to get home first. Romans, Max, Uli, Christoph, they're going to try and stay with Sebastian. They're going to see if they can take him on the last few kilometers. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Okay, Sebastian is going to try and push out in front, but we've got Romans, Uli, and Christoph, Rush, Mustik there, and Werner. They're not going to let him get away. And it's going to be quite a fast finish. Lawrence is flying a little bit faster out to the north of the pack, and he's got a similar altitude. When we see them deviating a little like this, it's almost certainly because there's a cloud. There's almost certainly they've noticed a cloud forming with a little bit of a energy line. You can see Sebastian pulling up there and slowing down, and he's gaining a bit of energy back. That puts him on a par with Lawrence. It's getting to be a bit like a horse race now. We're coming down the home straight, folks. Sebastian is just now got slight edge on the others. Romans has taken a turn. Ooh, this could be a big mistake, Romans. We'll see. A turn costs you 25 seconds. And that turn will put him behind 3-4 people. In this competition, that's 4 points. He's taking another turn. He's decided that it's too marginal. He doesn't really want it to be that marginal. And he's made the calculation that that extra height is going to allow him to fly a little bit faster. And if it allows him to fly a little bit faster, he's going to be able to catch up and even pass the others. Werner's decided he's taking the same thermal, and Peter Panek's there with him. He's got enough height. But Sebastian's not really losing height. And we can see now that Sebastian's still got 50 meters spare, so he should be okay. I think that Romans might have regretted taking those turns, but of course we don't know. We can only speculate. Distance to go, Benj. I think there's about, let's see, we'll come up in a moment. We can see they've just passed Alsace on the airfield. I think there are about 25 kilometers to go. Here we go, 25 kilometers to the goal. And that means that they need about 900, 800 meters. We can see that they've got all of that. It's remarkable how much distance Romans has lost by doing those couple of turns. Lawrence has decided he's not going to let Sebastian get away. Max, he'll stick with him. He's going to stick with Sebastian come what may. And let's hope that whatever happens is good at the end of this. Werner, he doesn't like the altitude. He wants to have a little bit more. Romans has got the altitude. He's got 1,300 meters. And he's happy to take that. He's happy to use that. It could be, though, that we saw Romans was always high in the thermals. So it's just possible he was flying with less water, with a lighter wing loading, and now he's beginning to regret it because on the final glide it'll cost him dearly. The heavier gliders can fly a little bit faster for the same wing loading. So if you're gliding 50 kilometers like this, it's probably going to be a minute or something like that that he will lose if he's lighter. Of course, we don't know, but we'll find out when we talk to him later on. You can see the goal there, and they've got to pass through the control point at Control East on the ridge that runs down through Varese town. They pass over the low gully, over the top of the ridge. They'll be really quite low when they come over the ridge. See, Lake Como is in the north now. They're coming past Como. They're not going that fast, 170, 180 kilometers an hour. Lawrence is keeping his speed up. He doesn't want to get left by Sebastian. He can smell his points coming now, Lawrence can. He can think, yep, today's the day. Looks really tranquil on the film. It looks very calm. You can see it. But they'll be bumping around in the turbulence. There'll be sweaty hands on the stick. They'll be concentrating, leaning forward in the glider, thinking hard about the altitude and the speed, concentrating on making sure that they don't screw this up by being a little bit short at the end. Beginning to look like Sebastian's tactic at the last turn was absolutely brilliant. He pulled it back to the top just after the turn, and he left the last thermal first. He pulled out ahead a little bit, and I think he did really quite a nice glide without losing much height. Probably flew through a little bit of energy there on the way in. Shall we have just a quick look, Benj, and see where the guys are behind? A great graphic there, flying over the small town just before Varese. Lawrence has got his nose out in front. Romans has dropped back quite a long way. That's how much it cost him, those few turns. And Peter's within. He's having a good day. And Didier and Co, they're falling well behind Giorgio. I think they're a long way behind now. Werner and Giorgio, they're quite a long way behind. That's several minutes behind. Probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. Thilo is got a good altitude in the northern side of the track, but he's not going to get home before them. And everybody else is just tagging along there. Didier and Rasmus are on the hills. Kai and Rene and Christophe Abadé has climbed up. I think he's probably around turning point 4, and he'll be on the way back as well. So we go back to our final glide now. Lawrence is just pulling ahead. That's the town of Varese they're coming up to now. So if we just bring it in a little bit more, there we are. Fantastic view. If you were standing on that hillside now, you get a spectacular view of these guys coming overhead, only a few hundred meters above the ground as they pass over the ridge. coming up onto the town now and the highway. You can see the finish line is in front of them. It's about 6 or 7 kilometers, I think, now to go. Is it, Benj? So to turning point 5, 3 kilometers plus 5 is 8 kilometers to go. Yeah, 8 kilometers to go. They need about 250 meters, and that's all they've got. The airfield's 250 meters, so there is absolutely nothing to spare. Are we flying fast or are we flying slow? I think that Lawrence has had a brilliant flight. He's really going for it. He's doing 200 kilometers an hour. He's not hanging around today. He's decided that this is his day. Christophe Rouche, he's pulled ahead of Sebastian. Sebastian was just a little bit lower when they left the thermal, and now he's paying the price for that. He led the glide for a long way, but they've used the extra altitude to overtake him. And Max is not far behind him, so the points are going to be pretty close. So all you guys out there in South Africa, I hope you're cheering for Lawrence, because it looks like Lawrence might just be going to take it. You know, there's this old saying, hero to zero. Well, Lawrence has going right now, heading from 0 to hero. 209 kilometers an hour. Christophe only 198, and Sebastian's had to slow down to 187. Of course, they have to stay above 250 meters, otherwise they get a time penalty. Time penalties make a big difference. If you get a time penalty, you can finish in first or second place and find that in actual fact you're in the points, you're back in 5th or 6th place. We see him coming into the airfield now. Let's follow them right into the airfield bench. Really on the last part of the home straight now. I wonder if Uli's going to be able to take Christophe. It looks like Christophe Rouche has just got a tiny little bit ahead of Uli. Maybe just a fuselage length, maybe just 10 meters ahead of him. Lawrence has certainly pulled away there. I just hope he's maintained his altitude so he doesn't get a time penalty. Sebastian's had to slow down 160. That's not all that fast in these gliders when you're doing a final glide like this. Christophe has slowed down, and now we're coming into the airfield, and there we go. Lawrence has crossed the line first. Let's hope he's got the height. Looks like Christophe is going to come in through second. Where are we going, Benj? Let's get it back on the line. Yeah, Christophe is through second, Uli third on the graphics. We'll find out in a moment what the actual finish was. Sebastian's coming in fourth. I'm sure he'll be slightly disappointed when he led away on that glide. I think he probably thought he was going to beat them home. Max will be happy. He's in the points again. He's going to be fifth. Very consistent flying from this young guy. Really, really well done. Romance is coming in now. He's dropped back a long way. So there's a real lesson to be learnt there about taking the extra turn. We'll ask Romance what his wing loading was if he was flying at max weight. But there's a very big lesson. You can see now each of the guys making their sweeping turn around the circuit over the lake, coming into land in the probably a little bit of a tailwind as they come into land on the airfield of Varese. It's fantastic graphics because we can even see Lawrence is going to turn left and stop in front of the spectators on the hangar. We can't see the spectators because I don't think that they're on this graphics, but we can see that it's remarkable how clear it is. And Peter Panik's coming in. I think that Peter's in the points. That'll make him very happy. He said to me this morning he wasn't doing very well at the beginning of the competition, and he thought it could be him. Then he decided it wasn't him, it was the glider, and he's worked on his glider, and now it seems he's fixed both of them. And he'll be very happy now to come through the line and pick up a point today. Well done, Peter. So the rest of the field, bench, who have we got still coming? Thilo. Well, Thilo's had a good flight. I've lost track of how many finished, so I think that Thilo might be out of the points. I think he might just be out of the points. Werner, who had such a good flight, flew so well. And Giorgio, he'll be disappointed. He'll be disappointed that he didn't quite get the route into the last turning point. He took that northerly route into the turning point. It cost him 200 meters, which meant that he didn't get to climb when they came out of the turn, and that's cost him by at least 2 or 3 minutes on this flight. Okay, well, we're going to finish the broadcast now. We'll leave the streaming running till everybody's finished so you can see them all coming home. And it's time for us to go and talk to the winners and get ready for the podium. The podium will be live at 6 o'clock. That's 1800 hours local time. And you can catch up with all the day's events with our highlights video, with the post-race analysis. You'll find them all under race coverage on the SGP website. We hope we're giving you a good insight into glider racing and sailplane racing. We hope you're enjoying the show. And I know that the pilots here are doing their best to really show you how competitive a sport sailplane racing really is. So we'll see you a little bit later, folks. And tomorrow, I hope, if the weather cooperates, we'll be back on the air at about 1300 local time. Bye.